The 80s are the new 60s. So I'm the young age of 48, and I was hanging out with an ex-girlfriend who's, I think, 33. And I says to her, you know what? Having grown up in the 80s, not the 60s, I almost feel like a celebrity. Because basically everybody looks to the 80s right now. And has been for the last 10 years. Maybe it's almost over. So I was born in 77. I got to see the beginning of video games. I was there when video games basically were invented. The first Nintendo. I got to see Ghostbusters in the theater. Everything. Karate Kid. And interestingly, back then, people looked to the 60s as the cool time. And now it's funny because now everybody looks to the 80s as the cool time. Also, I think that the 80s were probably the very best time in all of human history to grow up. See, we got the benefits of semi-modern medicine, but we weren't poisoned by the internet. We still went out and climbed trees. So we got the best of everything. It was before pollution had completely destroyed the planet, before the movie industry had made it impossible to make creative movies anymore. Right, because back then you could take a chance on some strange movie idea without some company having to invest $100 million. A movie could still make it into the theaters because there were only so many movies that were made, and you couldn't just download them and watch them on TV. So the movie theater actually had it was very valid. It had a valid reason to exist. You had a reason to go to the shopping mall. I did, anyways, to play in the arcades because the arcade games were better than what you had at home. Now, I'll add to my comment that growing up in the 80s was the best time in all of human existence to grow up. Period. I'll add to that being in your late 40s, as I am, in 2025 is probably the best time in all of humanity to be in your late 40s. Why is that? Well, for one thing, all the movies and TV shows that are coming out are catered to me. So, for example, so heavily catered to me. So, for example, I grew up seeing the Karate Kid when I was 8 years old, right? Then now in my 40s, late 40s now, I get to see Cobra Kai. I get to revisit the characters from the Karate Kid who were my age during the original Karate Kid movie. I get to revisit them and they're my age now. And I get to continue their story. And so is the case with Train Spotting, although that was early 90s. When I was 16, I watched Train Spotting in the theaters, and those characters were roughly my age, maybe 6 years older. And then they made a Train Spotting sequel a few years ago, where I got to revisit the very same characters almost as if they were friends. And now they're later on in life, just as I am. And I'm not sure that's ever happened with another generation, where you get to actually revisit the same characters because the same actors are doing a nostalgic reboot. And same with Bill and Ted, right? I grew up watching Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bogus Journey, and then they made a Bill and Ted Face the Music movie. And I haven't really thought about it, but I'm sure there's much more. There's the Ghostbusters remakes where, the original characters actually did show up again. And then you got Stranger Things, which totally is invested in the 80s. And when I was talking to that ex-girlfriend of mine, she's got a 5-year-old kid, and I was explaining to the kid about what it's like to rewind, what it used to be like to rewind a cassette. And it was really hard to explain that to a 5-year-old, especially in this day and age where the whole concept of rewinding something it's so foreign. And try it, pause the video, try to think how you would explain rewinding something, rewinding a cassette. And of course, we all feel sorry for kids growing up in this day and age because there's not going to be any culture, there's not going to be any genres, because everything's just so damn available, right? Like you would listen to country music if you were from the country because that's all that would be on the radio. You would listen to, I guess, rap music if you lived in the ghetto. Bad example. But it occurred to me recently that just the term ghetto blasters is pretty derogatory because, wait, it's using the word ghetto. But basically, you can listen to any music you want now. So there is no genre that's going to ever be prevailing. Same with movies. You can watch any movie, so there's never going to be any style that's in. And even photographs, taking pictures. Nobody takes pictures anymore. Nobody takes videos anymore of each other because it's just way too easy to do. So it's lost the specialness of it. Before Napster and all that, right? I would hear a song on the radio while I'm on the bus, this on my Walkman, right? I would hear a song on the radio and I'd really like it. Oh my God, it's on. And I would press record and I'd record it onto my cassette tape on my Walkman. And I'd only have half the song, but I'd listen to it like crazy. I wouldn't even know the name of it, but it would be special to get this song, to get a hold of this song. Whereas now you just go on YouTube and every single song is available. Every song you can imagine. The 80s are the new 60s.